All right, so we got off to a rocky start in the 21st century with relationships. Very rocky start. We all lived through it. We all know what I'm talking about. And there's been a lot of ammunition on both sides. Okay? But here's the thing. We need each other. We do. If the human race is to continue. We haven't quite figured out the Gattaca solution just yet. But there are some positive signs. There are some very positive signs on the horizon. Or at least I intend to take them as positive signs. I intend to be optimistic about this. And the first sign is that among millennials and Gen Z, we're starting to move away from dating apps. And I think that's an entirely good thing because let's be honest, dating apps have been a cesspit for a very long time. Whether it's this algorithm that decides for you who you will like and who you don't like. Whether it's the fact that these dating apps have always been predominantly populated by men, meaning that there's this massive discrepancy between the amount of men looking for something on these dating apps and the amount of women who are seriously looking for the same thing. And the fact, I don't know whether more men are abandoning it or more women. I don't know if anybody's got any good data on that. But there are plenty of people, I see it anecdotally, and I can see it in the articles that have been written, to suggest that people are just about sick of dating apps. These dating apps, they really jumped the shark, or you might even say they nuked the fridge when they really started going after people's pockets. And I'm not just talking about $15 to, get this next tier of whatever it was. I'm talking about $30, $50. I'm talking about $500. The egregiousness of that whole thing. It's a case in point. They're not winning any friends. And I think people are starting to realize that. They're not here to set you up. They want to keep you coming back. They employ all of the same little tricks and psychological hacks that a lot of these social media companies have figured out with their algorithms. And that's not to say that people aren't successful with dating apps. A lot of people do find a lot of success, but they tend to be of a very certain type, right? And these dating apps aren't built for long-term relationship success. And long-term relationship success is what keeps this whole society thing taken over, right? It's not hookup culture. Sorry. Here's my second point. I'm starting to see a lot of people talk about the fact that men aren't approaching women. I'm starting to see a lot of women complain, frankly, about the fact that men don't approach them in real life. And there's a myriad of reasons why that is actually true. And we don't need to go into all of them today. We don't even need to touch that. I'm sure you can think of some of the reasons why. But the point is, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for men and women to have a little bit of a sit down. Because if women are starting to get the feeling like they're not getting approached in public, and the dating apps aren't working out, and men, well, we know men are feeling lonely, maybe we could, get together as two sexes and sit down and have a yarn about why that is and how we can resolve that. That could be a very good thing. And here's the other deal, matchmaking. So when I'm talking about matchmaking here, I'm not talking about friends setting you up with another mutually single friend that they have. Although I think, if I were to guess, that's also in decline. What I'm talking about with matchmaking is this. I'm talking about institutional matchmaking. Because once upon a time, the church used to fulfill the role of an institutional matchmaker. And by hook or by crook, there's not a lot of church left around today to be fulfilling that role across a society. Of course, the church still fulfills that role for people who are Christians, And you see there's a lot of people these days, a lot of young people, I guess, starting to take the Christ pill. I'm not one of these people. I'm not young or taking the Christ pill. But if it gives you meaning and it allows you to find a suitable partner, salute, right? Good for you. However, when we secularized as a culture, we did throw a bit of the baby out with the bathwater because we lost that institutional pillar that used to fulfill a lot of social roles in our community. It simply did. There's no arguing it. And it can't fulfill that to quite the same extent that it used to. And so, what we're seeing is a confluence of these factors where now fertility rates are very, very low. And it's not all just people not being able to get together. There's some other issues at play there, and we can address that in a different video. But one of the things is that declining fertility rates result in demographic problems. It results in a shrinkage of GDP over the long run. And our whole economy is built on the idea of line go up. Can't have line continuing to go down. Doesn't work that way. And so, at a certain point, they're going to need more bodies. They're going to need more people having children. And at a certain point, government is going to have to step in and fulfill that role of the matchmaker. Now, I don't know how or what that looks like in practice, but I would not be surprised if we see it. Then again, I could just be spinning a yarn. I don't know what the future has to offer in this regard, but I'm so sick of hearing people be utterly despondent about dating and about, their chances of finding somebody who gives their life meaning. Because it's defeatist. And even if you're right about all those little factors that you think make it a predetermined finality, I still think you should rebel against that, and you should say, well, no, fuck you. I'm not going to listen to that anyway, even if it's true. Certainly not going to do your head any good to constantly hear that stuff floating around in your own thoughts. No, have some optimism, even if it isn't warranted, man. Because who knows? Tomorrow might be a better day. Yeah, that's all I had to say on the subject. Okay, until next time.